All right. Welcome back to the pod. Welcome back to Theory and Theology. Got an episode for you today. Forgot, just had to record this intro in, and yeah, enjoy. All right, y'all, so here we go. Got a cultural topic here, so let me get into Instagram. So there's an Instagram, are they called channels? There's an Instagram site that I follow called African Style Diary. African Style Diary as one word. Now, I know sometimes things are kind of clickbaity. They posted something on here from, let me see, they accredit the original owner of the content. I don't know what, I think it's Culture Tree is one word. But I don't know. I think sometimes things are kind of a little clickbaity. So this is about the Wodaabe kind of tribe with I guess marriage type of choices. So I don't know. There's something that just kind of, maybe I'm taking it weird, but it seems like judgmental. So there's a lot of information. I'm going to read through it, and a lot of just kind of cultural ideas. It says, a tribe in Niger, and it has the flag, where ladies are allowed to pick the best looking guy for marriage. And it's a clip that shows the Wodaabe men kind of standing, they're wearing traditional garb of, I don't know the actual names, but it looks like some type of like a garment in the lower body, kind of resembles like a wrap, and they have like it looks like an apron or some type of a tie that goes around it, with some other type of, like an apron, and then like maybe some kind of tied, maybe some beaded or tied cloth. I can't tell if it's cloth or beads. And they're wearing kind of like beaded sashes, some arm bands that look like they're some kind of feather or some kind of like fur looking fiber. I can't tell if it's plant or animal. It's either, I don't know, it's either fur or maybe some kind of fiber from a plant that resembles like a stringy type of cotton or something. Maybe not cotton, but something stringy like that. Like it could be like from some type of fibers from like inside of a tree or something. I really don't know what it is. They've got facial paint for their face that looks red. The paint on the lips looks black. Let me see. Alright guys, it cut off because when I click on an Instagram video, I can't record simultaneously, probably because of the audio, even though I don't have the audio on Instagram. So let me try this again. Now I gotta go back. So, okay. Sorry. I'm typing it in. African Style Diary. Please don't kick me out. Alright. This is annoying. Well, now I can't find it. Okay, let's see. Okay, so yeah, I was describing how their facial appearance looked, and then they have some. It looks like there's two separate groups of people that are being viewed here. One group has feathers in the back, it looks like, on a headdress, and then the other group has like some type of headdress that has like some kind of cloth or something gathered towards the front, where it's like holding up a type of hard looking, I don't know, like a stick or something, and there's like either fur or some kind of fibers from like a plant or a bark or tree or something that are kind of on the front of the headdress. Now I can't tell if these guys are the same guys with just a different headdress or if they're different guys. I'm assuming that either it's a tribal mark of difference, or maybe like a status mark of difference, or like an age mark of difference, the different headdresses and things like that. And maybe there might be some significance with the sashes and the different apron types and things like that, or maybe it's just individual style. I don't really know. So I'm gonna read what this content says written underneath. It says, African style diary. Can you imagine a festival that allows you to steal your neighbor's wife and make her yours? Here is a wife stealing festival where love can be stolen, but also found anew. This unique celebration takes place in Niger Republic, West Africa, where the vibrant Wodaabe Tribe showcases their traditions and beliefs in the most stunning way. The festival is a feast for the eyes, as the Wodaabe men, known for their vanity, carrying mirrors everywhere to admire their beauty, go all out to impress the wives of other men. During the festival, the men dress elaborately, where wear striking makeup and put on a one-of-a-kind beauty pageant. They believe that true beauty lies in the whiteness of the eye, the straight bridge of the nose, and pearly white teeth. So they accentuate these features with red clay face paint, eyeliner to make their eyes pop, and lipstick that enhances their smiles. To top it off, they adorn their hair with white ostrich feathers, adding an extra touch of elegance and height. Like a typical beauty parade, they adorn themselves and sway with the hope of catching the attention of the females who act as judges. What makes it acceptable, perhaps, I think it's supposed to say, is the fact the Wodaabe men believe in polygamy, so are willing to share. However, it's important to note that not all men allow their wives to participate in the festival, as they prefer to keep their union secure. Nonetheless, this festival provides a fascinating glimpse into the Wodaabe tribe's customs and beliefs, where love, beauty, and tradition intertwine in a captivating display of culture. So I kind of like this last little piece of the paragraph. This festival provides a fascinating glimpse into the Wodaabe tribe's customs and beliefs, where love, beauty, and tradition intertwine in a captivating display of culture. I think most cultures have some belief of some customs, some beliefs, some aspect of, love, beauty, and traditions, right? Like most cultures, when you think about anything from marriage to, family to, child, like having like a family with kids or child rearing, upbringing, culturally we decide what's attractive, right? Um, and we're kind of brought up to think that what we see is attractive based on what our culture teaches us. And so usually, you know, in Western culture, you don't really always see a lot of males wearing facial paint or any kind of makeup and things like that. I'm not saying they don't, but it's not very customary. There usually is going to be some kind of physical appearance marker that people want to see, though. There's usually, like, I guess in Western culture, people can focus on maybe not ultra muscular, but muscles, height, facial hair or lack of, type of hairstyle or lack of. Definitely a lot of times I hear people talking about, if someone's balding or not, if someone's overweight or not, and if they're like maybe lean but like very thin. So these are things that I've heard often, where it's like, and I guess in Western culture, the way that males impress a partner, it doesn't matter if they're like a guy partner, a girl partner, a woman partner, whatever, non-binary partner, whatever a person is trying to attract, usually there are kind of these traits of masculinity that they try to portray, like usually being fit and in shape, and well groomed. A lot of times you hear things about facial hair, like clean shaven is considered like culturally more, I don't know if the word is attractive, but more professional and more like somebody tried to make an effort, versus if somebody has like a scraggly beard, and if they do have a beard or facial hair, for it to be kind of like trimmed and like nicely proportioned. Haircuts nowadays tend to be kind of shorter. There are a lot more guys though that are even younger guys that have longer beards. I did notice that in the probably like 10 years ago or so, that was more of a style where I started seeing more males who were probably in their 20s, 30s, 40s having like longer beards. And then there's kind of that hipster culture of guys with longer beards. That I think wasn't really a thing so much in like some other days. And then like mustaches, like facial hair of like a mustache. There's a lot of times a lot of guys who have like facial hair like that. And then just kind of for things to be like edged up and like looking pretty clean cut and not just like overgrown, not combed, not styled. Like there's kind of like a look that's expected in Western culture a lot of times. But I guess the thing in Western culture is a lot of times it's the male or the more masculine person that's almost like expected to be choosing a partner. That's kind of the one who kind of like approaches and is making the decisions, and kind of is like approaching and being more assertive. I'm saying just stereotypically, this isn't really super accurate, but it's a little accurate, because I know, in the gay world, you see different things with males, or masculine people even. So a lot of times in the gay world, you'll see guys who kind of try to look a little more put together. Like stereotypically, people say that guys who are gay guys or more kind of more the more they lean towards some androgynous type of tendencies, the more guys seem to be kind of better with grooming and things like that. And especially if someone's trying to attract the attention of other guys, people who are trying to attract the attention of men, whether that's men or women, do tend to kind of focus more on, their body image a lot. Not to say that women don't care about body image, that's not true at all. But, they try to focus on different, jeez. I'm indoors and it's this loud, you guys. I got the windows open, it's hot today. We're getting weather in the high 70s. But yeah, trying to focus on, what do you call it? I don't know, I'm making a lot of generalizations here, but it's really hard to explain because I didn't sit down with these ideas trying to think about it that deeply before I started recording. I kind of just like to record raw, but then I know it makes it so the content's a little messy. So yeah, so I would say there's a lot that there's a lot that gets dude, bro, I don't even know. Basically people know what they're trying to attract, who they're trying to attract. But it's not to say that, people who are trying to attract women don't try to look pretty or nice. And there are a lot of guys who aren't gay guys who are very well groomed and stuff like that. It's not just a gay guy thing, or an effeminate or androgynous guy thing, or a metrosexual kind of thing. And nowadays, in modern Western culture, there is a lot more, it's not seen as non-masculine to take care of your appearance. I feel like maybe sometimes in the 80s, 90s, 70s, 60s, there were these ideas about masculine attraction, and I know, I was watching that show Indian Matchmaker, and one of the guys on there was pretty surprised that women actually care about what men look like. There is kind of this false assumption that women don't care, that guys can kind of, women who are dating men don't care, and that guys can kind of just look however they want to look, and then women are going to be attracted, which isn't really the case. But I mean, yeah, Western standards of beauty are different than others around the world. There's something I've kind of noticed. I mean, this is a little off topic, but I'll come back to the topic. I was working on an ad for a beauty kind of device. It was like a microcurrent device, and the ad for it has this lady, because I cut part of a clip from elsewhere, and the ad originally has this lady who almost is trying to have Western features. She has blonde hair with some curls, and her eyes were made to look kind of more Western, not Asian, and a lot of her features were made to kind of look more like she's a Caucasian woman, which was kind of interesting, because when I noticed that, I was like, this isn't a Caucasian woman, this is an Asian woman trying to look Caucasian. Maybe she was mixed, but I think she wasn't. I think she was an Asian lady who was trying to have Caucasian features to try to appeal to a more broad audience, because I have heard things. I'm not the person to talk to about like female beauty products and stuff, but I have heard things about female beauty products and things like that where it's like, if you're black or Asian, sometimes the products aren't necessarily like created for different groups of people. Like black people, Asian people have different facial features, maybe like a broader, flatter nose, or like fuller lips, or eyes that don't have a fold on the top, or like smaller, like a smaller, I don't know what you call that area, like the bottom of your face that goes from like your cheekbones down to your chin. Like, and I'm just generalizing here. I mean, I hope I'm not coming across sounding all like racially insensitive, but I'm just trying to point out, every culture has their own things going on. But yeah, this article or Instagram excuse me, Instagram post kind of initially caught my attention because I was a little bit like maybe slightly offended off of it. And so I think what they did though is they tried to grab attention. So it seems like the post, the text on the picture, as well as the first couple sentences talking about stealing your neighbor's wife in a festival where love can be stolen but also found anew, and that kind of thing. But then after that, it kind of nicely talks about the Wodaabe culture. So I think it was kind of just trying to like catch attention, and it did catch my attention, but I was just like, dude, that's like rude. Yeah, in the video clip you see like these females walking, kind of slowly walking, looking. Now the guys are like chanting or singing and kind of like standing up on their tiptoes and trying to like impress. And then there's these other guys that have these kind of like a turban type of outfit with like a long, I don't know what these are called. I've seen them a lot, but I don't know what they're called. They're like, it's not a dress. Dress is not the right word, but it's like a long garment that resembles a dress. And then there's like pants under it. You see it a lot in the Middle East too. And people who live in the desert often wear those types of clothes. And then they have some kind of like a turban, and then like a part of the cloth from the turban that goes like around your face, to protect from dust and all kinds of things. So yeah, I found that a little like offensive. I was kind of like, man, this is a little offensive. And the first comment I read was from 5 hours ago. It said, polygamy, more than one wife, and polyandry, more than one husband, is this case. In this case. So you can have more than one wife and more than one husband. And it says, for those judging and criticizing negatively, the Western opinions and views don't matter to those who have managed to preserve their identity, cultural heritage, and social codes intact. They could care less what people on Instagram think they should/shouldn't do. And then somebody says, I'm just going to kind of like edit as I read. How is it wife stealing if a man, how is it wife stealing if a woman chooses? And then somebody quoting the Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing, he, not she. How is this different from Western society? It's just Tinder in real life. That's kind of a funny comment. I thought she was holding a phone to her ear, like, girl, I don't know which one. That's funny. What makes this work is a shared culture, a social contract amongst all participants. Each Each gets a personal benefit by giving up the desire for individuality, a Western concept that has done more to divide and isolate us from one another and ourselves. Look at these incredibly fit, healthy, strong, beautiful humans doing their natural born culture. I like that. I need to head out there. If this practice is adopted globally, then 80% of us men don't stand a chance. I'm just speaking my view. Don't hate. I just wanted to know who she chose. If it's only by looks, I would be there by next week to pick mine, but not by looks. Oh. I think this is the wife stealing ceremony. So yes, these painted guys are the candidates who have done their personal best to look as attractive as they possibly can. They widen their eyes and smile big to show how white their eyes and teeth are. This is attractive to the woman because it shows they are in good health. The women look for good looks and good health. As a non-straight, I would be turning to the queens beside me asking for their marriage consent. LOL. Such a glowing and strong power. Let's respectfully say their name, Wodaabe Tribe. Yeah, I mean, I've watched documentaries. They kind of explain from a more Western perspective kind of what's going on during these ceremonies, and I find it interesting. It's like, I've always wondered, like, what's the process of picking? Like what's the process of being a male who enters into the arena to get chosen? What's the process of, like, becoming one of the females who's choosing one of these guys? And what's the process if some of them are married? Either the males or the females, whichever ones are married, they might be choosing a different partner, an additional partner. So, I find it kind of interesting. I wonder if they get kind of some kind of a higher status or role. Like, what does it mean if you're a woman and you've chosen one of these guys? What does it mean if you're a guy and you're there to be chosen? What does it mean if you're a guy who has a wife who's going out there to go choose a guy? Or what does it mean if you're a guy who has a wife and you are part of the ceremony to be chosen? You know, like, I would just wonder. And but I don't know. And yeah, it is kind of a good point. You're not really stealing your neighbor's wife if it's the woman who's choosing which of these multiple men she's gonna pick. And if it's a festival, I don't know, is it a ceremony? Is it a festival? Is it a pageant? Are the words interchangeable? Is it something that happens annually? And just even, like, if you've looked at the other documentaries where it has, you know, how the guys are kind of, like, how their facial expressions look, like, a lot of times they're, like, smiling to show their teeth as white, and then they're moving their eyes kind of side to side, Because and keeping their eyes like big and round, because that's seen like as attractive. And I mean, I would say they're attractive. Like, I don't think that necessarily exactly what they're doing is attractive. Like, if I'll just put it this way: if I were in a bar or a club or something, and somebody came up to me and they were perfectly nice, they were perfectly fine, and they physically looked in good shape, attractive, and then polite, friendly, came up to me and started like standing up on their tiptoes, chanting, kind of moving their eyes like side to side, making their eyes big and like smiling really big, like um just doing that kind of those motions over and over again. I don't know what I would think. I wouldn't necessarily be like, oh yeah, the behaviors they're doing are attractive to me. Like, I could find the people attractive, but I think the behaviors themselves, are, I would feel like it's a little odd. For me, it might feel a little odd. I might originally think maybe this person has a tick, or maybe this person has some kind of nervous response or something. Like, I don't know if I would, because it's not part of my culture specifically, so it's not common that people around where I live in LA start doing this when they meet someone, trying to like attract them. Now it's different seeing like a whole group of people doing it together in unison. It's a little different because you can kind of tell, okay, like everyone's doing it. But I always try to put myself in other people's shoes, and like I wonder how they feel. Because for me, I think if I were one of these dudes, I'd feel maybe, just naturally, if I were myself, I would be kind of shy to be like trying to put myself on display in front of all these people observing, and then getting rejected. I mean, you're getting rejected as a whole. And I'm thinking maybe the woman already knows who she likes, but this kind of gives an opportunity for her to show who she likes. Like, I don't think I don't know, I could be wrong, but maybe she's not. I always assumed maybe that she's not newly seeing these guys. Like, this isn't like a first look at these guys. Not all of them. Like, maybe she has somebody in mind already. And what would be the process where you're like, what if you're married and you're like, I want to, go to that festival and choose a guy, a different guy. What happens to guy number one? Do you get to have him as well as the first one, or do you have to give up the first one? And what if that guy who was in the festival, who this woman chose as her second guy, what if he already has a wife? So like, that's what I'm really not sure of. Like, are these like all single people looking for single people, or trying to get chosen by a single person? Or are they all like a combination of like married and not married? And what permits someone to be able to either look or to be chosen? So those are things I'd kind of like to find out. And then just, like, I don't know. I think if I were one of the women choosing, like, it seems so public. It's like, I'm more of a like, do my thing on my own over in the corner somewhere. Like, I'm not, into having like any kind of audience when I'm trying to like show an interest in somebody, or when I am interested in somebody, I'm not really trying to like, be on display or feel on display. I'm usually just trying to not feel on display. Usually that's what I'm trying to do. So I don't really know. But I was also, I mean, when you think of it, I was raised in a culture where people don't really have like open-minded ideas about dating, about sex, about marriage. Like, it's very rigid views. I was taught some super rigid views from family and from, religion, and from the religious school I was a part of, and just in general, the generation I was born to. Like, I think later millennials, like later, like in the, 2010s, I feel like things have started getting more open-minded. But before the year 2000, I feel like things were still pretty closed-minded. Like, I started rewatching, not fully like into rewatching, but I watched a couple old episodes of The Real World because I saw it on Netflix, and I saw like these guys, like it's just like seven strangers picked to live in a house or whatever. And I think this is the Las Vegas season, and it's like 4 women and 3 guys or something like that, and none of them really seem to be, or some of them seem to not really be well off and not really have any money in their pocket. Somebody mentioned having like 20 something dollars, and they're there to work and live together and stuff. And within the first few episodes, one guy is already interested in one lady, and then another guy went and behind his back started like making out with this other woman. And one other lady was like, oh, like, why doesn't he find me attractive, and it's kind of like, I remember way back when I used to watch The Real World when it was like new, like back when these were new, I was like, wow, like this is, like, to me that was like raunchy. I was like, wow, this is some intense, like, raunchy, like adult content, like seeing these people living in bedrooms with no doors, having showers with no real like privacy. Like, the bedrooms have like a curtain, but there's no like door that locks, and then there's like no single bedroom. So there's like, I think all the rooms had 2 beds except for one room that had 3 beds. So basically it's 2 bedrooms with 2 beds, 1 bedroom with 3 beds. And I think all the men decided to live in 1 bedroom, but I think I've seen other seasons where there's guys and women sleeping in the same bedrooms. And then, yeah, people can just come and go through each other's rooms, like make out, have sex and stuff. And they're like doing this, like, pretty much not in public, but it's like you have just a curtain in your bedroom. It's not like nobody's gonna find out what you're doing, and you're sharing a room with somebody. So it's like, just the setting alone, you'd have to be pretty open-minded. I like to follow up with like Helix videos, Helix Studios. It's like an LGBT studio for like kind of adult content, but I kind of like their interviews. And there's this one guy who, they kind of interview and talk, and there's one guy that they were kind of saying like, oh yeah, when we go on trips, he kind of like stays in the room, and like he socializes, but he's not like always out socializing with like everybody all day, and he kind of seems to kind of keep to himself. And that was something that kind of surprised me, because I was like, okay, like, because I always assumed like all these people would be like out and stuff. And like, I know when I'm on trips and stuff with friends, I tend to be pretty like, I like to stay to myself a little bit. Like, I need to kind of be alone and recharge and just unwind in my own head and stuff, and not really be around the energy of other people. Like, I do get energy from being around people, but after a while my energy gets depleted from being around people for so long. So I think it would be hard for me to live in one of those types of houses, and it's already hard enough for me having had roommates. I feel like once the Rona hit, I never had any time alone. And also, I noticed living in a house with people, I don't like living in a house where people don't leave the house, because that's even my current situation. It's like, people don't leave the freaking house, like, I'm here, it's mostly me and my mom. She never leaves. Like, she hasn't left the house, actually gone, unless she walked across the street or something. She hasn't actually left the house, the property, all of the month of July, and we're already day 13 into July. I don't even think she left the house most of June, from what I recall. And so it's like she's home all the time, like literally all the time, for like you know, not even going to church or anything anymore. Like she used to go out like once a week, maybe, or maybe twice a week, or go out every day or work every day. But now she's home like every day, all day, every day, never leaves the house. So I don't really know. But yeah. But yeah, for me, it's just not a good fit, because I like to have some space, some privacy, not to always feel like there's always somebody home, always somebody there, always someone, who's gonna try to like interact with me. I've talked about it before. That's one thing that really annoys me, when I like come out of my room to kind of try to cook lunch or something, or breakfast, and then somebody hears me in the kitchen and they're in a social mood, so they want to come and talk. That drives me nuts. I'm like, I did not come out here just to talk to you. I came out here because I wanted to cook. I'm not trying to like have a conversation. And that's kind of something that I find a little hard with sharing spaces with people, is that a lot of times I'm just trying to do what I'm doing. Like, if I'm hanging stuff up to dry, it doesn't mean I want to talk just because I'm in a public space. If I'm coming in the house, it doesn't mean I want to talk just because I'm in a public space. If I'm cooking or doing laundry or folding my clothes or whatever, it doesn't mean I want to talk just because I'm in a public space. I like to be in my own head, and like, I kind of like to mindfully do tasks. Like when I'm doing chores and stuff, I don't like somebody splitting my attention to like talk to me about all kinds of stuff when I'm trying to like focus on what I'm trying to do. I don't really like it, and so I don't know, but that's not obvious. I think a lot of people do like that. They see somebody out in like a common space and they're like, oh, we can talk now. But I'm not always in the mood to talk. Like when I'm cooking, sometimes I'm hangry, things like that. So I always wonder what it would be like to live in like a village, or like a style where it's like I don't have my own room with my own door, where I can just go and retreat and be alone. I kind of need that. I don't think I could do the whole like sharing a bedroom. If it was like a hut or some kind of like a small house or studio like that, I don't think I could share like that without having my own bedroom at least. But then again, I've never really been around people that are like all that trustworthy or comfortable to be around. I feel like when you're from a culture where people kind of mind their own business, or aren't trying to judge you, or just kind of have their own life and aren't so absorbed with your life, I feel like that kind of creates a different scenario, and people are kind of more like they're busy doing their own thing. Like I've lived in houses before that have like students in them, and it's like like people are tired, people are kind of like feeling their own way, versus like how it is to live in a house full of like retired people who like are lonely and they just want to talk to someone, and it's like, nah man, that's not for me. So I don't know. And then I think it does take like personality styles, energy styles, relaxation styles, all that kind of needs to kind of match. So I just wonder what it would be like in a culture like where people live like in a yurt, for example, or where they live like with extended family that's like right there. I wonder how that is for people. But yeah, this is just something, a topic that kind of caught my attention, and I like recording about it. If I find more cultural stuff, I might record more about it. I haven't been that active online lately in all of my usual spaces, just because I'm kind of opening up more projects on other platforms. Not like a whole lot more projects, but some other projects. So I don't know. I think today I'm gonna do a lot of writing. get some recording in, because I've honestly missed recording. I haven't recorded in a minute. So I think I'm gonna do some more of that. And I guess that's it for now. Thank you so much for listening.